Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Geek and I. Finally Friday. No, Federation Friday. I've been saying finally Friday all morning since I got up. I'd be like, going into work. Hey, Chuck, finally Friday. Hey, Mary, finally Friday. And they're like, yes, we don't have to see you for another 2 days.
We're gonna have to get the hashtag TGIFF going.
Yes.
Thank God it's Federation Friday.
There we go. I should put that in the. I'll put that in the show notes, or maybe that'll be our first T-shirt.
There you go.
Hashtag F.
TGI.
All right. Too many letters. You'll have to spell it out for me.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'd buy it.
I'd buy that for $1.
They won't be $1. Yeah.
No.
Let's make something perfectly clear. Yeah.
What are they? What are T-shirts going for? 25, 30?
Nah, not that I'm buying a $30 T-shirt.
Yeah. What do you what do your designs go for?
I have no clue. I was thinking the last one I bought, I think it was like 21, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Because I know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I put one up on was it TeePublic?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like I think it was like $19. I think I made $1 off of it. So I'd sell that for $1. Or I'd make $1 off of that. I'd make $1 off of that.
I earned that for $1.
Who knows? All right, kids. Tonight is a good episode. I enjoyed this one.
Yes,
I had never seen this one, and this was real good. I've watched it twice. Because usually I'll watch it, and then when I do the screen grabs, I'll just have something else going on, and then I'll look up and think Control L, Control L, Control L. But I actually watched this one again while doing the screen grabs because I like this one. What do you know? What do you know about this one, Martin?
Well, it was directed by James Gladstone, who directed Where No Man Has Gone Before. I think this is his second and last Star Trek directing assignment. And it was written by Robert Bloch, who is a giant of sci-fi and horror writing. You probably know him from his best-known work, Psycho.
Really?
Yes, Robert Bloch wrote Psycho. Also did a ton of Twilight Zones and a ton of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and was one of the really well-known writers that Roddenberry brought on board during that first season.
Oh, it's pretty impressive resume.
Yeah, his stuff. If you've ever read any of his stuff, it's excellent. Excellent.
This one really impressed me because not only was it, I guess, well acted. Everybody felt like their characters now. Spock was awesome. The way that Kirk kind of gave Spock the clue as to get your ass down here. that was very reminiscent of the if we're going by the book from Star Trek II. That was really, really cool because I think I had gotten up to get a drink the first time he was on the spin machine and missed where he's yelling at himself with the green-blooded or half-breed or whatever it was. And on the second watch, I caught that and I was like, wow, what a great idea that was.
Yeah, so much better than going, I'm an imposter. I'm an imposter. Yeah, that really. Yeah.
So now that you say that, okay, it doesn't seem like it was that great of an idea. But so what if like when he's on the spinner, and right before they start, he's doing his half-breed monster, get out of mind your own business stuff. What if he had just thought to himself, get down and save us. Come here and save us. Come here and save us. And then Robot Kirk goes back and says, Spock, go down and save us. Or says,
Yeah. During that scene, I was like, wow, thank God it's Kirk and not McCoy on there, because nobody would have known. Nobody would have known. Who is oddly absent from this episode?
Again, he's on vacation. Does he have a lot of, like, did he do his vacation time like in one lump before the
I think they probably met because he was not at that time billed as one of the three. It was Shatner and Nimoy, and salary wise, they probably said, well, we're going to bring Majel on for a major guest shot here. There's really nothing that he's going to contribute, so they probably saved money that week by not including him in the episode.
Yeah, that makes sense. So speaking of the episode, we start out, as always, with a shot of the Enterprise flying by and some guy in a blue jumpsuit who probably works on cars also and is the same color as the chair.
He's actually part of the cleaning crew.
He's picking. Who usually sits there? That's unnamed character 5 or something like that, or
Mr. Leslie. Yeah, it's usually a red shirt. A lot of times it is Mr. Leslie, because it's right to the right of the engineering station.
Okay,
right?
and he's probably just cleaning up the lettuce that fell out of his Subway sandwich.
Somebody spilled their drink.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and we're introduced to, this is Nurse Chapel, right?
Christine Chapel.
Christine Chapel, and this is her first appearance, right?
Her first appearance in what is probably one of the worst wigs I've ever seen on anyone ever, including Bill. Yes, it. You know why she wore the wig, right? So Roddenberry kept trying to push her down everybody's throat to be on the show. Obviously, she was number one in Where No Man Has Gone Before. So, and the network absolutely didn't want her. Didn't want her. So Roddenberry put her in this and then had her wear the blonde wig so nobody would notice. And when they played this episode for the studio, within 5 seconds, somebody yelled out, "Well, look who's back again."
Did they not like her, or was it just because Gene was kind of forcing her on everybody?
I think it was, one, Gene was kind of forcing her on everybody. 2, they knew the situation. Gene was married at the time and was kind of had Majel on the side. And old school Hollywood would be fine if you did that and she wasn't on your show. It would be another thing if she's on your show and the news broke, it'd be a major scandal at the time. So they probably didn't want any part of it. And I don't think they thought she was all that talented, to be honest with you.
And nowadays you'd probably get an Emmy Award for that.
Yes, you would get an Emmy Award. Probably get your own spinoff at that point.
So we have Uhura back, and now she's in the proper red outfit, as as what was it last week? She was in the gold.
Yeah, her luggage finally caught up with her.
So they're talking about the planet that Dr. Kirby is currently on, looking for him, and apparently he and Chapel were a thing and engaged, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So I don't know if I have it here, but they mentioned that the planet was it 141 below zero?
I don't remember hearing that.
It was like a minus 140.
Oh,
Or something like that.
140. Okay.
Yeah, because it is a snow planet, and they say that it's negative 140 degrees, and I'm thinking, okay, here we go back to the Enemy Within, where we're trapped down on an ice world, and it's freezing, and then the next thing you know is they go down. Look at the look on this guy's face. He's like, I just cleaned that.
Yeah.
And her too.
And in the background, a very, very rare. You don't really see gold ladies' uniforms, except on Uhura.
Yeah. Maybe she borrowed it from her.
Yeah. They have one spare, and if
Excuse me, can I borrow your gold outfit?
now before she hears this, that hears her fiance's voice, Kirk goes over to Spock and he's talking to him. He said, and within earshot of Chapel, he says, "You think he's still alive?" And Spock looks at him like, "Shut up."
I noticed that. Yeah, it's like, you do know she's standing right behind you, right?
She's
Like,
right
seriously?
there. Suddenly, Mr. Cold and Emotional becomes, cold and emotionless, takes this woman's feelings into consideration and doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought that was really cool of him. So they're going down after I guess Kirby answers and says, "Hey, come on down. Not all of you, just her." And then Kirk was like, "No, I'll be there too." Right? So they go down and we get this beautiful shot. And I'm thinking, "Wow, this is no they spared no expense." And then they beam down, and I look, and I'm like, okay, it's 141 below zero,
Yeah.
and they're not frozen solid in an instant, but then you notice that they're behind a shield.
Which I think is only in the remastered edition.
Oh, is it? Okay, because I noticed there was a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So, I looked like, okay, well, they covered that up pretty good, but I guess if you think it was not in the original, and it was just an open door.
I didn't have time to check, but yes, I think it would be an open door because if it was a force field, they technically shouldn't be able to beam in. So, yes, but again, this kind of begs the question. You're going down to a planet where it's 140 below. I'm sure they have a force field and all this, but maybe you want to bring a light jacket just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, well, it's graded to 140 below there. You're going through caverns, which I doubt have central, high vac systems of warming the entire place up. But yeah, that to me, that always bothered me in Star Trek, especially when they would beam down to a planet that they knew was cold. Nobody took a jacket.
And I guess that was something they fixed in Star Trek 2 when they beamed to the inside of the moon, and they're all wearing these like really cool jackets that would be perfect for a vacation spot like this.
Right, but they were beaming to regular one, which, as far as I know, was environmentally controlled, and they brought their winter jackets. So, that was the one thing about the cage, which is cool. When they beam down to Talos 4, they put on those gray outer jackets, and we never really saw that again. Maybe even a hat would help. I don't know.
Well, they both have wigs on, so maybe they're thermal wigs.
That's true. And hers is made from actual skunk, I believe, because I've never seen it just takes me out of the episode. It's all blonde at the front and black at the back of the. It's like a black mullet, and it's just awful.
It's a balayage. She was ahead of her time.
So we're looking for Kirby, and we're walking down the caverns, and
without
she almost
flashlight.
Without a flashlight, and she almost falls in this hole in the ground, and that could have been dangerous. And then we see this mysterious figure pop up behind a light, and it turns out that it's not Kirby, because she thought it was Kirby, and it's actually, what was his name? Dr.
Brown.
She calls him Brownie, and all I kept thinking was, heck of a job, Brownie. Heck of a job, Brownie.
So then in the background there's this scream, and we never see who it is. It's one of the red shirts that came down, and apparently he fell in this hole,
Marking the very first red shirt death.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One of many.
And what was strange about this was it, when did I watch that? I think I watched the episode on Monday and Tuesday, and then this actually played on Pluto TV on Wednesday. So I caught it on Wednesday, but this scene was different on Pluto TV. I don't know if they have a different version. Is there like two different versions of this scene?
Not that I'm aware of. What did the alternate version look like?
This is what it was on Pluto TV.
Is that you, Dr. Kobe?
Which is pretty much the same.
Dr. Brown is Roger's assistant. Brownie, where's Roger?
Careful, please. Careful. Is there a path down there?
There's no hope, Captain. It's bottomless.
I'm still alive, only I'm very badly burned. Anyone? Someone call an ambulance. I'm in quite a lot of pain.
That's
just a little different.
Just slightly different. I love the way a trained scientist says it's bottomless. Like margaritas at Applebee's?
Yeah, it's like, I was thinking when I first watched that, I'm thinking, okay, so if something is bottomless and it's a hole, does he actually come out the other side?
He gets projectile out the other side of the planet.
And freezes to death.
Right. And first of all, you never use the word bottomless in front of James T. Kirk. You're asking for trouble. That's why he's looking intently down the hole.
So, there's no hope, Captain. And then we find out it's this guy.
Lurch.
Who actually shoved him off, correct? Gave him a...
He did.
Gave him a nice push.
And I have to say, I love the design of Rock. It's fairly simple. It really is shoulder pads, a little face makeup, and a robe. But oh my God, does he make the most of this role?
Oh, he was so good.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Now this is before. Is this before Addams Family?
I would say it's probably around the same time.
Let's check.
And I wonder, Roddenberry must have really enjoyed working with him because he winds up doing the voices in 2 other episodes. I know he's the voice of Baylock in the Corbomite Maneuver, and he does another voice of an alien later on. And then in the 70s, when Roddenberry was doing like his Earth 2 show or Genesis 2, I don't remember which one, Ted Cassidy was actually a co-star in that.
So this is after, because Addams Family was 64 to 66.
Okay, so this is 66. So, yeah.
Yeah. But he is, I mean, I don't recall seeing him in anything else other than these 2 roles. Was he
I think he was in Donnie and Marie's Going Coconuts, if I remember correctly. Don't ask me how I know that.
Incredible Hulk? It says he was the narrator in the Incredible Hulk, Captain Caveman, and the Teen Angels.
He was pretty young when he died. He was only 46.
Yes, he was very young when he died. So wait, he was the narrator in The Incredible Hulk? So he was the guy who does the narration at the beginning of every episode?
That's what it says. That's what IMDb says. Narrator,
Interesting.
Incredible Hulk, voice uncredited. And he played the voice of Godzilla in the 78 to 79 cartoon series. The Flintstones meet Rockula and Frankenstone. He was in Plastic Man.
So he did a lot of voiceover work.
Yeah. Fang Face. Oh, remember Fang Face?
I remember Fang Face.
Yeah, there's Going Coconuts.
Yeah, okay.
Doctor Strange.
The TV movie?
Yeah. It says
I haven't
he was
seen that in a long time.
Demon Balzaroth.
Okay, so that was probably a voiceover part.
Yeah. Uncredited. Chico and the Man. And, oh, how can I forget this one? He was Bigfoot.
Oh, right.
Yeah. In the $6 Million Man, yeah. Wow. He's got a lot of credits. Ironside, Banachek. A lot of one-offs.
I was going to say, he probably didn't get a lot of work as Criminal of the Week. What did he look like? He was 9 feet tall. Oh, okay.
They might be hard to find.
Yeah.
Do you have a better description?
We took castings of the Shoe Prince. There must be 1,000 guys with a it's this big.
So the Brownie says Dr. Corby was detained, but then he gets a little weird where he looks at everybody and tells them who he is again, like they've never met.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and he didn't spoil it for me, but on Sunday I was on Sunday Night Geekery with Mark D with a C, and they asked, what are you guys doing this week? And I told them we're doing What Little Girls Are Made Of. And then they were like, "Well, big Android heavy episode." I was like, "Oh, spoiler alert."
Well, if you watch it on Paramount Plus, basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's the Enterprise goes looking for Dr. Roger Corby and his group of androids.
Mm-hmm.
Really, guys? Really?
We need new writers.
Well, it's
So
better
Kirk-
than the guys on cable. Every time a Halloween movie on it, they write Killer Mike.
Well, it's
It's a little informal.
yeah, but they only have so much spacing, letter area.
And here, Chapel is already making excuses.
Yeah, I noticed that it was a lot of excuses for his bad behavior until she gets jealous.
Like that.
And then we have red shirt number 2 just lounging out. He's got his feet up on something.
On guard duty.
Yeah, leaning up against the wall.
Klinger was more effective on guard duty.
So he's told, if there's anything going on and you don't hear from me, call back up to the ship and let Spock come on down and get down here and bring a team. But is it Rock or Ruck?
Ruck.
Sneaks
R-U-K.
up.
Ruck.
RUK, yeah, Rock.
Yeah, and then
Look at the
Look at
size
this.
of that hand.
I know, I
Wow.
was just gonna say. You know what they say, big hands, big feet.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, big shoes and big gloves.
I'm going to save that for a little later in the episode. And I think you know exactly where I'm going with
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
you'll see the images.
I thought he broke it off, Rock. Okay.
Spoiler alert. So yeah, then this guy looks so familiar.
This guy was in everything. He was in, I believe he was in Kolchak. He was on MASH. I mean, if you watch MeTV, you see this guy pop up in everything. He was in Dragnet. He was in Adam 12.
I just closed out IMDb.
Was he ever a leading actor in any of the?
No, I think he was always just a character actor.
Just a character actor.
But again, his performance in this was fantastic.
Michael Strong.
Michael Strong. Okay.
Oh, he's in Patton.
Yeah, he was one of the guys, one of the attaches with, I was going to say with George C. Scott, with Patton.
Galactica 1980.
That one's hazy.
He played the Resistance leader. This Old Man. Lou Grant. Quincy, Man from Atlantis.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
Herman Lower in $6 Million Man. Wow. He's got a lot of credits, but again, just like one-offs again. Columbo, Kolchak, Planet of the Apes, Ironside, Cannon, Gunsmoke. Oh, yeah, so this is basically he's a MeTV and an Antenna TV.
Yeah, lineup. You could catch him every day.
Yeah. Mission Impossible. He was in 4 episodes of Mission Impossible.
Good actor, looks like a leading man. I don't know if he just preferred the character work, but I think this guy could have had a much bigger career.
He reminded me of who's the guy that's in all the Tarantino movies now?
Robert Forrester,
No.
Samuel L. Jackson.
No. Little lighter.
Uh,
The German from
oh, Christopher Waltz.
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I could see
who
that.
that's who he reminded me of watching this episode.
Do you know who I thought he bore a striking resemblance to was Senator Geary from Godfather 2. And he was the guy who sent Martin Sheen on his mission in Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
G.W. Spaulding, I think his name was. Reminded me very much of him.
Yeah, but this guy was really good. And then he gets a little action, and Kirk congratulates him on the action. He's like
Well
making
done.
out with Chapel, and hey, congratulations, Dr. Corby.
I was watching this with my son. Kirk gawks at them while they're making out. And he turned to me and said, I think he's going to kiss Corby. I said, yeah, it looks like he's going to take a step forward to join both of them there for a second.
He wanted some action too. Because normally he does. Well, I
That's
guess he
true.
does a little later on, but
So then he lets him know that his security fell off into the bottomless pit, and he asks what happened, and he's the edge must have given away, and he calls for Rayburn, who was the guy I guess at the front door, and doesn't answer. And then we have Brownies saying no communications, and he pulls out, I guess, a phaser or a laser or can opener.
The leftover props from the cage is what he pulled out.
And he it's getting a little weird down here already.
Can I also just add that the garage sale decor really just doesn't work for me? It's the only complaint I have in the whole episode is the set dressing I find distracting.
Like that. What is that? A tablecloth?
It's a
Or
it's a throw rug and a couple of chairs, and you got these high tech doors, and then you've got what looks like my grandmother's living room.
Yeah. And then we were introduced to this chick.
Andrea.
Yeah. Who, I guess, I don't know, is Corby getting it on with her, or do you believe him when he says nothing happened? Because this is where she gets a little jealous, right?
There's a moment when Chapel shoots her a look. She's
Mhm.
clearly not happy. I think clearly there's something going on, but I don't think it's what we think is going on, is what they were trying to convey.
So she's holding. She's got a little phaser, and Kirk grabs her and spins her around and takes it from her and does his roll on the floor.
His Kirk Fu.
I gotta step away for just a second. Just continue on. I'll be right back.
And then you have Ruck
This-
come in and
it
grab
great?
him, and he shoots Brownie, or Dr. Brown. Is it Dr. Brown?
Dr. Brown.
And Dr. Brown's got some circuitry going on.
Oh, we should have called him Doc Brown throughout the episode.
Yeah. So Kirk gets manhandled, and
Boy, does he get manhandled.
yeah.
Did you see the look on Shatner's face when he gets lifted up?
Now was
He
this was
he
that
looked
was that this
genuinely
fight,
shocked.
or was this the other fight? Because I know they
Twice he gets lifted up.
yeah, because the next time he's like all the way up at the roof level, and he's about to get thrown into the corner.
Yeah, he does the roll, and then Rock comes in and just picks him up like this, up against the wall. And he does get picked up again later in the episode. Apparently, that's the extent of android fighting techniques, is just to pick somebody up off the ground.
This is a line that I had a hard time believing. Like, this guy is more complex. To me, he looks like he's like the prototype model. He's not the finished, retail version.
So I'm thinking, since Rock had been there for centuries, this is probably what the organic beings on this planet look like at one time. If you're going to build something, you're going to build it to look like yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble with this line too, but then again, knowing what we know about androids, the simple fact that he couldn't even recall how long he had been there, to me, kind of indicated that maybe he was having some system problems. Because later on in the episode, something triggers him and it all comes flooding back.
Right.
So he may have been more complex, but maybe Kirby intentionally did something to keep him under control.
Yeah, because then he yells, "That's the equation."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kirk is he's not trusting this dude at all. And
Nice butt shot.
he just gets, lifted and it's like he is giving him the old playtex lift and separate, and he's about throwing him in. He's throwing him into the wall.
Yeah.
And is this dude really this strong? I mean, he's
Now, if you look at it, because I went back and rewound it, there are lunges with a jump, and he's almost doing the Dirty Dancing move where you run and jump, and the other guy just kind of guides you up in that,
Okay.
that general vicinity. But yeah, it was impressive. I don't think he realized how high he was actually going to go.
yeah, because he's got to be. I mean, you say this guy's like 9 feet.
He's over 7 feet tall there, so you figure at about 2.5 feet for that ass. Yeah, he's about 9 feet up.
And then he gets tossed into the corner like he's like, "Where's my stunt man?"
Nobody puts Jimmy in the corner.
He's had the time of his life.
Yes, he did.
So now we're back with Christine and Andrea, who I don't know why we ever stopped wearing clothes like this out in public.
I'd just like to harken back to the beginning of the episode where we mentioned this was an ice planet.
Yeah. Well, it looks cold. So,
Just a little nipply.
Mm-hmm.
so now they want to, they're going to take Kirk and they're going to show everybody how they make androids. And how perfect the androids are, because there's a pulse and the skin is warm to the touch, and that's even setting her off a little bit more in Chapel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stroking her cheek and saying, "Oh, it's warm to the touch and soft and just needs a little moisturizer every now and then." And
Now, in the context of 1960s conversation, when I watch this scene, I feel like Chapel and Kirby are having two different conversations. She's not coming outright and saying, "Did you screw that machine?" And he is talking about love and emotion. I couldn't have feelings for her. Nobody said you had to have feelings. We just... they kind of dance around. Thank you. You know, if I don't get one of those in an episode, I'm happy. But there's a disconnect someplace.
yeah, and I is that purposefully written that way because he's, spoiler, an android also, or is that something that was just written in the script and they, it kind of fell that way?
I think it probably has to do more with what they could get away with saying on television at the time. And I think they were trying to kind of talk in codes, because the whole concept of, hey, did you get physical with this thing? There was no way you were going to get away with that in 1966. So when he's talking about love and caring and emotion, I just replaced those words with other words, and then the conversation kind of made sense.
So here he tells her to kiss Kirk, and Kirk is like, "Finally!"
Action.
And then she slaps him, which is usually the way it.
Mhm.
Either that, or her she needs a breath mint.
Well, at that point, he usually asks for both again. Oh, here we are.
So, what is this thing that there is? This what he has in his closet? Like, how do you make an android out of a green pile of whatever that is?
So clearly, it's not a Sung type android. I think we can all safely say that. I guess this is just some kind of proto material that, if you spin very quickly, develops complicated organs, neural systems. If I have one minor complaint about this episode, is this kind of took me out of it, especially when they place this blob on the table and they clearly either ran out of time or money to give it legs.
Right.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, well, how does he get to be as tall as Kirk when, he's cut off at the knees?
It ends at the shins, like Cotton Hill from King of the Hill. And again, I take nothing away. If I think it was a completed model, it would have worked better. Maybe put some blinky lights in it, but again, they don't really go into great detail. I don't think it could be that complicated to build one of these things because apparently there are 2 knobs that control the entire process
And a switch.
and a switch, and none of them are labeled. So I guess it's kind of you go by feel.
And sound because they go.
Well, then Corby has to give him a nod, like, okay, now turn it more now. He
Now-
has to nod at him.
Now, John, you've been a professional broadcaster. When they activate the Android making system, is it 33 1/3 or 45 it's going at?
I think that was up to 78.
78? Could be a
Yeah.
78. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is early enough for 78.
Okay. Now, I will tell you, when I had my Mego Star Trek figures
You made
And-
this
and my
on the record player.
Scooby-Doo record player, Mego figures would go flying in every direction as I spun them around. Yeah, look at that. Look how short that thing is.
My question is, how did Kirk keep from throwing up? Because they really do get the going.
Well, he's the captain. Captains don't vomit. It's the first thing they teach you in Starfleet.
Do they have to go through the vomit comet too?
Yes.
Now, is that thing really spinning that fast, or do they
I doubt it. They sped
speed
it
the
up.
film up?
I'm pretty sure that was sped up because there's like blooper footage I've seen where people are go-go dancing on this as it spins very, very slowly. Also, the little alcoves for the body outline. If rock is supposed to be representative of what those people look like, they would have needed a bigger record player.
Yeah.
And thank God they have that modesty bar, because you know.
Well, there, I couldn't get a good grab of it, but there is one shot where you look up and, you probably can see a little bit of Kirk's phaser.
Type 1 or type 2?
Let's just say it was set for stun.
Okay. Well, to be fair, it is an ice planet and it's very cold.
So that's how fast it's spinning right there. And then once it stops, we have 2 fully grown Kirks. I think maybe because of the spin rate, maybe that stretches it. Maybe you have to start with a smaller model of a smaller mold. So when the spinning network gets going, it actually stretches you out. You know how when you used to grab the legs of elastic
Stretch
Armstrong and spin him around, he would get longer.
I think we're overthinking this.
Yeah.
Got to give him the benefit of the doubt, though.
There's the complex control room.
So, if it's a duplicate, where did she come from? Was she on the expedition with them? Where did they get the original model for Andrea?
Yeah, they never really said if she was part of the original crew or not. Or is she like Ruck, where she's she's just as old as he is.
But then why does she look so different than him? Why does she look human?
No, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Now, they did mention that 2 other expeditions went looking and couldn't find anybody. Maybe
So they
he copied,
lied.
maybe he copied somebody from one of the expeditions.
Yeah. I mean, because, you figure you would need the, for lack of a better phrase, host in order to make the copy. And there is no host for her. I mean, it would have been easy to just. Now, do they think of these things in the writer's room? Or do they just go, hey, that's a great idea. Let's just.
Yeah. We need a monster and a pretty girl. That's
Yeah.
how that's. Of course, the other possible explanation is we've all seen Weird Science. So I'm thinking maybe they just, made her from scratch.
Yeah, just tape some pictures and a bra and to that spinny thing, and out she pops.
Take a picture of Brownie's sister from his wallet because it's the only woman they have as a reference. And here we are at the Walton table. And everyone is so upset they just have lost their appetite for their Play-Doh.
Now, is that a window?
I think it's a tapestry. I don't think it's
Yeah.
a window.
It's a tapestry.
There are many tapestries.
I guess you get tired of looking at purple rock striation all day long and you just want to.
Well, I was wondering if it, if they forgot they were on an ice planet.
Mm.
No. Luckily, part of the archaeological dig, they were able to stumble upon the Exo 3 flea market. So decorating wasn't a problem.
Every third Monday. So she doesn't look like she's happy. She realizes she's not getting a full-time job after this episode. And then we find out that she was actually talking to Android Kirk. Now, is that his actual uniform, or did they have a spin cycle size, like the size of a washing machine that duplicates clothes?
I would think it's his uniform.
Well, remember that he was stripped naked to go in the thing, so I'm assuming that's his uniform. I always thought they missed an opportunity here for Kirk to walk in and the uniform to have the giant burn mark because he's wearing Brownie's old uniform. This is a great scene.
Yeah, because this is where he. I think do you think he knows about Kirby yet?
I don't think he knows, but I think he's, interestingly enough, right? If he's an exact duplicate, shouldn't the duplicate know that there was an attempt to sabotage the duplication process? Or did that get lost somewhere in the process itself? Because his long-term memory obviously is exactly that of Kirk's. And for some unknown reason, they talk about how similar they are. And immediately, Kirk nearly blows his entire plan by saying, yes, and we have some interesting differences. And nobody says, what's that supposed to mean? I just thought it was an odd piece of dialogue that probably could have been removed.
Yeah, just leave that out.
Yep. He's like, I said the part that I was supposed to say inside my head.
Yeah.
I said it out loud. Just like on the bridge when I asked, is it possible he's still alive?
Yeah. I got to learn to keep quiet.
Don't say the first thing that pops into your head, Jim. Don't.
So is this, and here we have our first mention of Brother Sam,
Brother Sam.
who I never knew existed.
Sam makes an appearance later on. I won't ruin it for you.
Well, you just did.
I'm not going to tell you how the appearance happens, but
There's no context to that comment. Yeah, and this is
So-
where he starts getting kind of freaky.
Yeah, he gets kind of salesman-ish. You want to be an android. You don't want to be a person anymore. You want to be an android because you can live forever.
he almost had me sold except for all the security updates they send over.
Yeah, you're always upgrading apps.
You're always upgrading your operating system.
And do we know who Maltuvis is?
No. This is a prime example. I love when Star Trek does this. They'll throw, it's like the 3-2 rule. They'll throw you 3 from the past and 2 that you have no clue from the future.
Right, Ferris and Maltuvis, right?
Yes. Sounds like a law firm.
Welcome down to Hitler, Ferris, and Maltuvis.
Mhm.
We will get you off.
Have you been injured in a transporter accident? If so, we want to hear from you.
So apparently there's, I guess, this rope holding the chairs together.
And I can't believe Andrea. She's standing right, practically kind of to the back, but next to him, and she doesn't notice that he's doing this.
Yeah, because you think about it, like if you or I tried to do it, this is what everybody would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So Kirk escapes and takes the rope and puts it around Corby's throat. Now, does he need oxygen? Is it just part of the
Act.
Yeah, part of the act, the salesmanship to.
He made a reference to synthetic organs. So I don't know. Because even afterwards, when he's in the hallway, he's still recovering. Maybe a little too perfect.
Doesn't that contradict what he just said about living forever?
100% completely, yes.
Stupid androids.
See, at least Data can walk underwater.
Yeah. Well,
and then with the fishies.
Unbeknownst to Kirk, there is a minor impurity in the process, leaving all androids vulnerable to twine. So that clearly he just, lucky BB. He hit it right out of the park on the first shot.
So Kirk takes off down the hallway, and where a lot of different colored lights. Now, is this natural in the inside caverns? Because I've noticed when I've gone to caverns and caves and stuff, like there's a cave system in Georgetown, Texas, just north of Round Rock, and when I was in there, the lights actually went out, and there was no purple. Color. It was dark.
No, I don't think this is natural light. I do
I don't-
like that stone Pizza the Hut in the corner there.
Well, and then the yellow and white that they're off to the left. It kind of looks like bird doo.
I think it's supposed to represent some sort of ore, but yes, you're right. It looks like bird crap.
It does, and they had diarrhea.
Hopefully, it's not android crap, but yeah.
So Ruck is chasing him through the hallways, and Kirk is trying to figure out how to fight back, and
Until he stumbles into the chamber of the dildos.
So we have Ruck, who starts to impersonate Nurse Chapel's voice, and he does. That was one thing that I noticed about the whole episode is when he is speaking in somebody else's voice, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
It is. It's not like nowadays where it looks like bad anime, but it was pretty darn accurate. When you could actually see that coming out, like it could be coming out of his voice.
Yeah, the dub was nearly perfect.
And I think that has to do with the actor. Now, who does the scene first? Would he be? I guess he would be doing the voice on set, and then she goes in and does the ADR, or does she do it and then they replay it on set for him to mouth?
That's a good question. And being a voiceover artist, he probably had some experience in that realm. I would think the loop is matching what he said in this case. Not the other way around.
So then she did a good job matching his voice in the booth.
Yes, but I think what helps too is when he is wording the lines, he's doing it at a slightly slower pace, which makes it easier for the actor to sync up later on.
Yeah, because I noticed that I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Because I've been in the booth trying to ADR somebody, and it's a pain in the neck to get it to really match.
I got to drop out for 1 second. Battery issue. I'll be right back.
Okay. You're leaving at the good part.
That's what I was gonna say.
You know what? Hold on a second. Somebody get me my charger.
I don't have the power.
Oh, I'm really going to do it. I'm going to tell Connor, bring me my charger.
So, apparently this thing is hanging from the ceiling, and I don't know if he's using it as a. Does he like this idea? Is it the idea of when somebody is told to milk the cow for the first time, and you're kind of like disgusted because he's like I can't believe I signed up for this.
Actually, to me, he's got the look of I can't believe this is happening again. And there it is. The image that launched 1,000 memes.
Schwung.
So, put things in context. The conversation from before with Corby and Chapel, they had to tiptoe around, but an android about to get clocked over the head with a giant phallic symbol somehow got past all the censors.
Yep.
What the ruck?
What what is that what is that line? Oh, let's see, is it here? Let's see if let's see. How do I bring this up? Let me share my screen.
Destroying property, arson, sexual assault with a concrete dildo.
And you thought all those charges at the end of Star Trek 4 were serious, huh?
So he grabs this thing and it's doesn't look like it's the healthiest specimen. And maybe Ruck is mad because that's an ancestor. But he throws Kirk off the ledge, and I guess because Kirk is wearing the boots, he can't climb back up. But Ruck pulls him up and saves him for some reason.
And then we get meanwhile back on the Enterprise shot.
Which the ship looked actually really good in this.
Mm-hmm.
In this episode. I would still like to see the original. But Kirk storms past Spock and goes into, I guess, what is that? Was that his room?
I think it's his quarters, isn't it?
Yeah, that's his quarters and that's his safe.
Yeah, because that was the screen that we looked through last week with the shadows and the close-ups and yeah. So he's going to go back down to the planet, and he's telling everybody, "We're going to get them out of here and get them all the parts that they want." Right? And he tells him, "Mind your own business, Mr. Spock. I'm sick of your half-breed interference. Do you hear?"
I love how he just cocked an eyebrow.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Fascinating.
And he understood the message. He got the message loud and clear.
And I love this because usually he would, and if it was any other show, you'd have 3 or 4 examples of this before somebody says, something's not right here. Spock one time knows something's not right here. So kudos to the writer. Now, there's a blooper in this episode. I don't know if you noticed, he leaves the quarters with his packet in hand, then marches down the hallway into the turbo lift with the package not to be found.
So he's just walking down the hallway.
Yeah, they reuse footage. From previous episode.
So they're looking to get off this planet, I guess, because there's not really much you can do with snow, and they need the raw materials to make more androids, some more of that 3/4 size goo body. And then we have Andrea come in, and then Kirk. This the second time he's. Didn't he do this with?
Scotty.
No. Who was the blonde Rand? In the Enemy Within, didn't he? Did he force himself on her in Enemy Within when he was evil Kirk?
Yes. So it wasn't totally his fault.
You hear that, Judge?
Yeah. Your Honor, my client was split into two different personalities. Clearly, he's not responsible.
Well, he really grabbed her hard because when he lets go of her, you could see his handprint still there after he lets go.
Yeah, Sherry Jackson, the actress who filmed this, said, "Wow, he really kissed me when we shot that scene."
Who wouldn't?
Like, you could see her lips are all swollen, and yeah,
And I'm sure they had to do it several times.
you could look at her body language there. That's not acting. She's actively, like, I think, startled by that.
And now she's getting confused because is she starting to have feelings that she's not supposed to have?
Well, I think we see a little bit of that even earlier when she's dealing with Roger. When he tells her, "You from now on you'll refer to me as Dr. Corby."
Mm-hmm.
If you look at her in the background, you can see there's something going on.
Yeah, she's kind of looking like,
What did I do wrong?
yeah, you're my guy, and all of a sudden this one comes in, this real girl comes in, and
With her two-tone hair and her mini skirt.
so then Ruck has a really cool speech here where he just kind of like recaps his people's existence on this planet, I guess. Now, were they built? Because he says we were built by our masters, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, was somebody watching this episode? Maybe someone named Larson?
I can see some parallels there. I can definitely see some parallels. It's a good question. It's a real good question. I love this speech. I love this soliloquy because look at the face when he says "so long ago," and you can see the pain that this android is experiencing. What I love about it too is Kirk knows how to play both of them. He didn't try and seduce Rock like he just did Andrea. He takes a different tact here, and he's getting the reaction he wants. He's getting them to feel.
Yeah, now that is something that, when you go to Next Gen, Data was always looking for feelings and emotions. So was it all we needed for Data was a giant turntable?
And some putty. Yeah, that would have been it.
But yeah, this guy, I was so impressed with him, because usually I've watched him forever as Lurch. And I mean, he's hilarious as Lurch. But he's awesome in this.
depth is what he brings to this role. And when he meets his end, you feel it. You go from, oh man, this is a monster, to I like this guy. I get him. You know, I feel bad for this guy. And you know, looking back now, this would have been a great addition to the cast. You could have had Data 45 years before, you know, or 25 years before Data was even a sparkle in anybody's transistors. Think of how he and Spock would have played off each other.
Yeah. And he's saying, you know, they began to turn us off, and they just, this is where I thought that he was a Cylon. You know, they were taking advantage of us, so we needed to destroy them to survive. And basically that's the story of the Cylons, right?
In the modern continuity, yes.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Who knows what was wrong with the silver Cylons? They were just,
well, they were the actual, again, it's a very similar story, but the Cylons in that case were reptilian, I believe. That's why the Imperious leader looks the way the Imperious leader did, because they always made the Imperious leader in the image of those who they vanquished for some reason.
But who was inside the silver? I mean, so were they robots?
Pure robots, yeah.
They were, so the Cylons were androids. They weren't like, they were kind of like the modern day, but the ones that are bad CGI.
So yeah, so from what I understand, the Cylons are purely mechanical, artificial, intelligent beings. Every once in a while, one of them will show an initiative outside of what's expected of them, and a mechanical silver Cylon can be upgraded by adding 2 other brains to it to become like the Lucifer, the IL class, and then the Imperious leaders are chosen from the IL class.
I need to start watching that again.
I don't think any of that is in the show, but it's definitely was in, I think, and you probably had it when you were a kid. You remember Encyclopedia Galactica?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where I got all that information from. A book I've been trying to track down at a reasonable price forever.
So he's got the, what is it, the third rule? Or is it the, how many rules does RoboCop have?
That's his 3 directives, right?
Yeah,
and then the 4th one was classified.
Right. So you cannot kill him.
I was a little confused by this because he says I was programmed by Corby, but I thought he was programmed by the Elders or whatever. So did Corby reprogram him?
Well, I think this harkens back to what I was saying before, is that he may have been damaged over the years, and maybe Corby repaired him. But if Corby was in such bad shape, I mean, he says he lost his legs. You know, who the hell got Corby onto the table and did the transfer? I would think it would have to be Rock in this case.
Yeah, there's a couple of little plot holes when you actually think about it.
Well, part of the I think the plot holes come from the fact that Block gets the writing credit for the episode, but Roddenberry took a turn at the rewrite, which always was like red alert territory. Gene Gene was not good at reworking other people's work.
So is that something that like maybe he can see the story and it's in his head and he's writing it down knowing where he wants to go, but he just doesn't write it down?
Who, Gene?
Yeah.
No, what he would do would be get a script and go, this is great. Now let me redo 80% of it to kind of put in my messages and also to make sure that we meet budgetary constraints. So that was a big part of what he did. So some of the later episodes, like season 2 episodes, it gets very heavy-handed, and you're like, oh, this has got Gene written all over it. And that's why a lot of writers eventually kind of balked at working with him. And I think the most famous case is Harlan Ellison with The City on the Edge of Forever, which is a completely different take. If you've ever read his original script, I don't want to say it's better, but it's really a very, very different take on the material. The only core thing that really remains is there's a character named Edith Keeler, and they do go back in time. But how they get there and why they get there is completely different. And I can go into detail on that when we get to that episode. But there's a great graphic novel adaptation of that story that I would recommend you seek out. It might be at your library. I think it's out of print now. But yeah, great story. And that one got rewritten from the ground up, and Harlan Ellison went to the Writers Guild. There was all kinds of problems because of the unauthorized rewrites that were done on that script.
So he did that a lot.
Roddenberry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But at the time, too, it was, I don't want to say it was common practice, but it was an accepted practice that, you know, as a journeyman writer, you'd hand in your stuff and know that it probably wasn't going to resemble, half of what you put down on the page. That, you know, if you felt that it was stellar work, yeah, a lot of guys would push back on it and disown it. But if you knew that you took it as a job and that's all it was, and, you know, sometimes it worked out for the best, sometimes it didn't. I don't think Gene, it ever really worked out for the best. In fact, actually, hold on a second. My notes. So it says here, in Robert Bloch's original script, a wealthy socialite named Margot hired the Enterprise to look for Dr. Corby. Okay, right there. This is a guy who is 7 episodes into the show, probably doesn't realize the Enterprise can be hired, right? In his script rewrites, Gene Roddenberry felt the role would be better filled by Corby's wife or fiance, which lay well with the Doctor's alleged intimate relationship with Andrea and his emotional coldness. So he was basically rewritten to get a part for his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think if they went back to Bloch and said, well, the Enterprise is not a for-hire ship. And by the way, I have this concept, nobody uses money in the future. He probably would have reworked it. Instead of hiring the ship, she could have been a Federation representative or an ambassador or somebody important looking for Dr. Corby. But not necessarily, you know, the fiance and, you know, build a whole episode. This is the only episode in which Nurse Chapel is featured heavily. Most of her appearances are limited to 3 or 4 minutes of screen time at the most in upcoming episodes.
Yeah, because the way you explained it, it kind of reminds me of like when, I guess, going to Next Gen when, like, what is it, Admiral Nagala would come on and say, you know, we need the Enterprise to go here and look for this dude or whatever. And that, to me, that would make more sense than let's go find my soon-to-be husband.
Yeah. I miss my fiance. Can we take this very large, important ship and divert it to, you know? Again, it's a product of its time, though.
So Kirk is still working on Ruck here, and he comes up with this thing where I guess it kind of like the RoboCop directives is putting him in a quandary, like a feedback loop where he's like, I can't hurt Kirby, but then I have to protect him. But Kirk is like, well, he's trying to kill you, so you can't protect somebody who's trying to kill you. And that's where the whole thing where he's like, was it, what did I say? He said, that's the equation.
Yeah, and he wrenches his head back, and like it all comes flooding back.
Right, because that
Fantastic scene.
Was there like did he have like a memory block in there that Kirby put in? You know?
Well, to be fair, Corby was going to have his memory wiped when he got to Anchorhead, but he just didn't have time.
Yeah. Well, he had to go see somebody about power converters.
Goddamn power converters. And don't you love the way he's lunging? Like, again, like you said, he reminds you of like the Frankenstein. He's got this classic kind of look, not to make a pun, but this kind of lurch menacing thing. Even when he's creeping around the caves, he's got like, that thing going on. Very, very effective.
Yeah, he's not your typical large guy actor who just lumbers through a scene. He actually, I don't know, he looked like he knew what he wanted to do with the character.
There are some people who you don't expect to be as limber or as flexible. Like, prime example, right? Ted Cassidy. Do you remember when he was doing that dance on the Addams Family and he was like all wiggly waggly? Or somebody like Jackie Gleason, who was incredibly nimble and agile on his feet that you wouldn't expect. And he definitely uses it to his advantage in this episode. It just enhances the performance.
Now, how old did you say he was when he
wasn't
46.
Yeah, he wasn't even 50.
Wow.
And I think that it's very common for people with large stature like this to sometimes have cardiac problems.
Yeah, because it says 32 to 79.
Yeah, he died from complications from surgery. I guess there was some kind of a tumor on his heart, and they sent him home to recuperate, and I don't know if he got like pneumonia or something like that, and passed away at home.
I hope it wasn't caused by that phaser beam.
Cassidy underwent surgery at St. Vincent Medical Center in Los Angeles to have a benign tumor removed from his heart. Complications arose several days later while he was recuperating at home. He was admitted to the same hospital where he died January 16, 1979 at 46 years old.
It probably killed him. Every time he was in the hospital and pressed the nurse's button, they would come in and go, "You rang." All right, so I got one of each tonight. Okay. I want one of those every week. Now I'm going to have to work on that.
Yes. So he gets. I wish his death was a little bit more than just hit with the phaser and then glow blue and disappear. You know, because he was such a good character, and like you say, you felt for him. You would kind of hope that he would have, I don't know, a little bit
More dramatic.
Yeah, something a little bit more gut wrenching.
It feels a little rushed. We have this crescendo of remembrance and giving Kirk that bear hug, which just cracks me up. Hey, my plan worked. I'm going to die, as he crushes me in his arms. And you're like, okay, I want to see him. I want to see him succeed. And then literally 10 seconds later, the door opens and zap.
Yeah.
Short-lived glory.
Now, being so large, you know, they could, and again, I don't know what discussions they had behind the scenes or what their budget was or whatever, but it would have been cool to have him. Maybe it takes, because he's an android and he's so large, maybe it takes 2 or 3 shots to bring him down.
Well, it's interesting because everyone's phaser seems to be set to a different setting. So Corby's got his on disintegrate, where before when Brownie got shot, it was just on medium-sized hole.
Hole in the pants.
Yeah. Just enough to go through that first layer of skin and your outerwear.
Yeah, it was set on Taco Bell.
Yeah. Phaser settings have always been kind of, out there. I mean, if you have a weapon that disintegrates, wouldn't you just leave it on that setting all the time?
You would think, but...
Yep. Oh, this door's locked.
So now, speaking of locked doors, they're chasing... everybody's chasing Kirk and Chapel, and he gets his hand stuck in the door. And then when his hand comes out, this is the first time you notice he's an android, and there's a heck of a lot of resistors in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not many capacitors, or it's just a lot of resistors.
Yeah. I don't think this shot was cleaned up like we see in future episodes when androids make an appearance. It feels like this could have done with a little bit of
CG.
Yeah. Even if it was metallic underneath with some lights, a la Data's head plate,
right,
would have made more sense.
It needed a little bit more finesse because this looked like they just shoved everything in there that they could find.
Yeah, it's something that's clearly glued on top after somebody dropped a radio. Take a little piece of this, take a little piece of that. Tell you the truth, what would have probably worked a little better too was a little bit more smoke in the shot. Probably would have made it harder to see all these details. They were going for the details, but it kind of backfires here.
Well, plus, it's not supposed to be watched in HD. You're supposed to watch it on a 13-inch color television that has rabbit ears where you don't have a clear signal.
Right. And again, transistors, right? Resistors. That to 1960s America was high tech.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he's saying, basically pleading for his life, saying, "I'm in here. Everything that you love is still here. It's just that I'm a robot."
Well, he could have said he lost it in a lightsaber battle.
And we have he's telling his story, and I guess he didn't have legs, Was now, I guess he was frozen out. Was he out in the cold, and they found him out there, and he was frostbitten and dying, and the only thing he had was his brain, right? Is that what he said?
That was kind of the impression I got, that he had some kind of exposure to the cold, whether it was a long period of well, I guess it wouldn't take that long in negative 140-degree weather, but
Not without two other dudes in a blanket.
That's true. Yeah. I got that impression, Deb, too, that it was all related to that. Because think about it, why else? There was really no need, and it didn't move the story forward that this was an ice planet.
right.
This could have been any planet, and he had an accident. I think they were just trying to tell us, because of this harsh environment, that's what happened.
And it probably would have made more sense if it was like a jungle planet or just a regular,
Well, anywhere. I mean, he could have got a cut and got gangrene.
Yeah, or attacked by some wildlife that was out there while he was exploring.
An unknown insect bite, allergic rate. It could have been any number of things. And I'll tell you the truth, it probably, from a set building standpoint, may have been cheaper just to film it on location someplace than build all this styrofoam.
Well, they probably just reused the set from a couple episodes ago. I can't remember what it was now, because it kind of looks basically the same. They just painted over the one with the infection.
Oh, the naked. Yeah. Well, it's definitely the same type of material that was sprayed on the walls. And I just could hear that meeting. We painted a different color. We throw up a couple throw rugs. It'll look brand new.
They'll never know.
Nobody
will never know. Yeah. Yep.
So there are the knobs that we all want to touch. And then there's these blue and yellow things on the wall.
Speak for yourself.
Come on. Honestly.
Hey, you know what's great about this scene?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. There's these highly advanced android society, right? This group of scientists. I need you to kill Captain Kirk. Okay. Reaches up on the shelf above all the equipment, and there just happens to be a phaser stuck up there. You can imagine, like, months from now, they're sprinkling. Oh, that's where it was. Hey, guess what I found? Remember that phaser we lost?
Where do you keep your guns?
Yeah. Are there little androids walking around?
Yeah. Got to put them on the top shelf so they can't get at them.
And she didn't put it up there.
Yeah, that was Ruck that put it up there.
Ruck put it up there.
So now she is. What is she? She says she's not programmed for alarms. Is that?
I didn't understand that.
No, she took out Robot Kirk, thinking that it was real Kirk. Didn't realize there wasn't a costume change.
Her programming is so advanced, she learned how to make excuses. So, yes. Whoa, I'm not programmed for alarms. I did the best I could. Piercing eyes on this actor.
So he's still begging for his life, and he wants Christine to stay. Which would have been cool if she stayed. I could have seen her staying.
I don't think she wanted to. I think she lost all interest a while back.
I think she lost. What it comes down to, she lost respect for him. He's been lying, whether he's a robot or really Roger Corby. To me, doesn't make a difference. if he was honest with her and upfront, do you think she would have accepted it? Maybe.
She might have
Probably.
thought about it more if he had been upfront about it.
Yeah. I mean, he's been lying to her since she got down there. And when she says, that's not Roger Corby, she's right. She's
Right.
right. This is not the man that she fell in love with. And even if he hadn't been turned into an android, it's been 5 years. They may have just grown apart anyway. Granted, if he hadn't turned into a robot, he probably wouldn't want to have the galaxy turned into androids. But still, it speaks to relationships, and it speaks to, if you love the person, can you accept them for who they are if they happen to be loaded with transistors?
Yeah. So now she wants to protect, and she goes in for the kiss. And is she still holding the gun? I had to watch this 2 or 3 times. Is she holding the gun, or does he push her finger on the trigger? You don't really know.
It's funny. I went back and watched this a few times. He grips. He's the one that kills them both.
That's what I was looking at, trying to figure it out, because it happens so quickly where you see his hand come in and you don't know if he's reaching to take the gun away, or does he pull the trigger? Does he push her finger down?
Yep, shoots himself right in the nose at that angle.
Yep. Well, there's what is there, two lasers right there, so one for each of them.
Well, that's how you change the setting. You turn the knob, so one is stun and one is kill and one is
Garden shower and spray, just
right,
yeah.
and stream and stun.
Yeah.
The 3 S's.
Yeah. It's like your hose. And then Spock comes down and is wondering, where's Dr. Corby?
Now, right before that scene, and I meant to email you to see if you get a screen capture, Kirk is consoling Christine, standing there, are you okay? With the phaser pointed directly at her stomach during the whole conversation. Yeah.
I didn't notice. No.
Like, I guess they're still getting comfortable with the props and whatnot, but he approaches her, chest level, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, yeah.
So the Enterprise flies away, and we see the that lone red star that we see in every space shot.
That's Krypton.
Is that what it is?
Yes, yeah.
I guess that's, what is that one, Hoth?
Hoth Light. I don't remember Hoth having so many phallic stalactites and
Just one that looked like Mark Hamill.
And Spock is checking out Chapel's ass as she leaves the bridge.
I'd pray in that chapel.
Give yourself one.
So then we go back to the half-breed, and he was kind of amused. But it worked. And Kirk will use that again next time he's in a similar situation. Does that ever pop up?
You mean falling onto an alien turntable and having an android duplicate made out of Play-Doh? No, that doesn't happen again.
No, okay.
I know it seems likely, but in this case, no. But this is the first kind of closing the episode playful banter that feels like authentic Kirk Spock.
We're getting close. It's not quite there.
We're inching closer.
So it's not exactly at the police squad freeze frame yet.
No, we're not quite there yet.
Okay. That happens in like midway second season, right?
Second season. Yeah, I think it's actually in Space Seed we get to that. Yeah.
So then we fly off into the sunset, and that's it. That is the end of that episode. Now, what was the title supposed to mean? What little girls are made of?
It's from an old nursery rhyme. What little girls are made of? Sugar and spice and everything nice. And little boys are made of puppies and snails and something tails. I don't remember, but yeah, it's an old nursery rhyme.
Yeah, was snakes and snails and puppy
Snakes
dog
and snails
tails?
and puppy dog tails. Yeah, that's it.
So was it just used to because it made sense, or do you think they were, when you look at the original script, is there something in there that makes you ask the question, what are little girls made of?
I get where they were going with the title, but since it's about Corby, shouldn't it be what are little boys made of? Or are we talking about
Are we talking about Chapel?
Andrea? Or I mean, I don't know. I think the title doesn't really fit the episode. Maybe what are little scientists made of? A lot of resistors.
Yeah. Resistors are futile.
We knew that was coming. I resisted doing it.
Well, I got to say that was possibly my favorite one so far.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah, it was good. It had everything that the characters were, they're like you said, Deb, they're getting closer. Spock was pretty darn good, and Ted Cassidy. What could
And when you consider how little, so we had no DeForest Kelly in this episode at all.
No Scotty.
No Scotty. No Sulu.
No Chekhov.
Well, yeah, he's not around yet.
Right.
Uhura in it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning. It really is like a 2-character episode with Kirk and Chapel, who, let's face it, I don't think is the most compelling character, but it works. The other thing I would add too, this episode is beautifully lit, beautifully filmed. The music heightens the suspense. I think it's to coin a phrase, it's firing on all thrusters all the way around. And the performances were fantastic.
Yeah.
You were compelled by everybody. I think the 2 weakest links in the whole episode, unfortunately, were Majel and Brownie.
Yeah. And there's the thing going around Twitter today where it said post an image or a picture of your favorite fictional captain. And I guess the person who started it put Kirk. And I don't think you have anything that we have today without Captain Kirk. And I guess I guess there's a weird. It's weird for me to think of it this way, because there was a time where when you were an actor, you wouldn't go on a sci-fi television show. You know, nowadays it's what you hope for, because you know you're gonna make bank at conventions signing autographs for $300.
Merchandising.
Yeah, but you know, before all that, that's why Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk. You know, that's why you don't have, or you know, when was the last time you saw, you know, how long ago was it before was it Michael Keaton, the first actor, big name that played Batman?
And you remember how everybody was like, "This is going to be terrible."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, shortly everybody was like, "He was great.
He's my Batman." Well,
yeah.
Well, was he your Batman in '89? No.
No. I remember being in the theater going, "Holy cow, was I wrong?" Yep.
Do you remember where did you see it?
I was actually out of state. I saw it that Friday in a town in Jersey called Marlton. It was the AMC 8, and my kids get annoyed because every time we go to my aunt's house, I point out the theater and say, "That's where I saw the original Batman in 1989." And they're like, "We know. You say it every time we go past it."
You know, I get that. You know, it doesn't happen that much anymore now that we're in Texas, because, I mean, I think it happens more when when the movies are playing on TV, Battleship will be on, and I'll say, "You guys remember where we saw Battleship?" And they'll be like, "Yes, we saw it in Allen, Texas, at the Cinemark in the corner of that shopping center." But I saw Batman in the Schuylkill Hill Mall in Pennsylvania.
Boy, we both had out-of-state Batman experiences.
Yeah, I was with Tom. I was visiting his mom in Pennsylvania, and it opened that week that we were in Pennsylvania, and we saw it in the Schuylkill Hill Mall. And
Have you been in contact with him, by the way?
Every once in a while.
How's he doing?
He's busy.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. And where was your Batman experience, Deb?
Here in Indiana. I was not out of state.
There sometime is where's the first time you saw? I don't know, maybe that'll be a show. I remember
Raiders. Northport Movie Theater. The old Northport Movie Theater.
Here we go. Here's the new.
I feel like the In Memoriam segment is about to begin. Maybe we could keep an In Memoriam running tally of the red shirts.
Yeah. So we have two actually, two this episode. Two this episode, yeah.
One off screen and one on screen.
Do they both have names? Because we'll have to add that to our.
The first one was Matthews.
And I think the other one was, I wrote it down.
Reynolds. Was it?
No, Rayburn.
Rayburn.
Yeah, I thought it Gene Rayburn. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll have to work on that for next week. Because
I was thinking when he fell down the hole, Gene Rayburn going, "This hole is so deep."
How deep is it?
Is it? Yeah. Some people say that it's blank.
Dun,
Hold on.
That was one of my favorite game shows, Match.
Hold on. Yeah. Let's see where. There's too many pages here.
I said bottomless.
a lot of childhood memories right there.
Then you gotta,
Yeah.
then you got to put your card in the conveniently located recycling thing right in the front.
Yeah. Which it just goes down to your feet.
Yeah, there's a pile. In there.
What's her name? Brett Summers is. They're all at her feet, and she being in the middle there.
I know this is off topic, but I once saw an interview with Gene Rayburn, and he said we would shoot them all in one day, right? So they would air Monday through Friday, and he said you can always tell. He's like, the Monday shows were usually the ones that were filmed in the morning, and by Friday but the Friday shows are airing. That was later in the day. As the week went on, we got more and more plastered. And he goes, and you can see the progression from Monday through Friday, how bad it actually was.
Wow.
I still watch those on Game Show. Was it? It's not Game Show Network. It's
Buzzer.
Buzzer. Yeah, I watch it on Buzzer, and I'll watch like 4 hours of it.
That 4-foot long microphone with the small little ball at the end of it.
Yeah, there's nothing better. I want one of those. I want one of those for when I go do my interviews out at the. I want the Gene Rayburn microphones when I interview people at the cons, and then you walk up to them and you say, "So what was the inspiration for this comic?" Well, I thought of this back in.
Will it be better than those little teeny tiny microphones I have? I find those annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, the little, yeah.
Yeah, the little teeny microphones.
Well, I have one that I have this microphone that I actually hollowed out so I can put the little lapel mic in there. So when I'm at a con, it's actually like I'm doing an interview, but unfortunately it's doesn't look like it on camera, but this is Barney purple. So it's not really
it looks blue.
An impressive color.
You should find a vintage Mr. Mike to do that too.
Yeah,
I had one of those.
We all had one of those. Hey, good looking. Remember the commercial? You can sexually harass people from your car.
I had one of those, and I took the microphone part out and hooked it up. I hooked the output of I had an old realistic mixer, and I peeled the wires off of the back of that, connected to the microphone. So I was able to do I had a whole home studio that I could broadcast over 87.9 FM.
That's the lowest on the FM band, right?
Yes. The only one that
it
was
the one you use at the drive-thru now. Well, when there is a drive-thru. Did you, speaking realistic, when you were a kid, did you have the science lab kits with the springs with the wires where you would?
Yes.
Those were the best.
Yes, I had that.
That fusion reactor I built with it, though, that was a little wonky, but
Mr. Fusion.
Mr. Fusion.
So, Deb, what do you got coming up this week?
Oh, let's see. MCU Monday, we are discussing season 1, the very final episode, the finale of season 1, titled Daredevil. And then Tuesday, Sith Dominion, we're still talking about the Sith Code. Thursday, I'll be on Cantina Happy Hour, which we're covering the latest, newest Bad Batch episode. Since they come out on Wednesday, then we have to cover it on Thursday.
how many are left?
I think there's 16 total episodes, and we just did episode 4. So
Are you going back to the beginning, or just there's
No, just
16 of
season-
season 3 has 16 episodes?
I think all the others have too.
Really?
Mhm.
That's a lot
Yeah,
for Disney.
It's pretty good so far. So I'm in.
Yeah,
couldn't-
I've been hearing good things.
I tried watching it. I couldn't get past that. I don't know.
Omega.
Yeah, didn't she have like spiky hair or something?
Oh, I thought you were saying you couldn't get past the password prompt.
Yeah.
I give up.
What's our next episode next week?
Miri.
Okay,
Miri. Miri.
So it does not bode well for the way you say it.
I think it's a kid episode, or maybe a preteen episode.
But I
Yeah.
think it stars a couple of Oscar-nominated actors.
Really? See, it's been so long since I've watched them.
Yeah.
I remember titles, and I remember thinking, "Ooh, I didn't like that one," so, but I don't remember what it was about.
Some interesting concepts in it. By the way, what would you give this on a scale of 10?
This is. I don't think there is a perfect Star Trek, so I think this is probably an 8.5 to a 9. This was really good. I might actually watch this one again.
I'd go with the 7 because we're not quite there yet. To my ideal Star Trek is just Spock, Kirk, and Bones. When they get together and they start bantering against each other, I that's probably my favorite part of Star Trek is those 3.
So the opening of Star Trek V, when they're when they're climbing the mountain.
I love that part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just their chemistry. Once they get going, their chemistry is just unbeatable. I just love it. Nothing ever comes close to that, in my opinion.
John, I'd agree with you. I'd give this an 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was really good. And I think it's all saved by the way Cassidy was. I think he just hit a homer on this one. So,
yeah, the whole episode rests on his enormous shoulders. So Miri's up next.
I need a groan in there somewhere.
No comment.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. We will see you in 7 days for TGIFF.
FF.
Just 2 Fs.
Yes. Federation Friday.
Yes. TGIFF. 7 o'clock Central. Or whenever you press play.
Same Kirk time, same Kirk channel.
All right. Let's get out of here. We're running late. And I know what Deb's thinking. So
yes.
we will see you guys next week. Thanks for sitting in with us. We appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace out.